Hey guys, so today I thought I'd do another tips for collecting Militaria video. Um, I got some, I believe, some pretty good tips here, and if you haven't already, it would be awesome if you'd watch the first four. I made one a few weeks ago, but the other three videos have been quite a while back. If you wanted to look those videos up, just kind of me sharing some things that have helped me over the years, and hopefully it'll help you guys as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, the first thing I've got for you today is always buy the item and not the story. Now, some of y'all have been collecting for a long time or for a while. I've already heard this and know this. Um, really, unless there's provenance, there's paperwork, there's definite proof that this item belonged to this soldier, or I'm trying to think how the best way to say it. So paperwork is a must. Provenance, you can't just go by a seller's story because, anything can be made up. Information can be twisted around, whether it's intentional or not. And so, especially if you're going to spend a lot of money, really think about that. And like I said, just buy the item. Do not go by the story. So you think in mind, you kind of what the item itself being what it is, whether it's a helmet or a uniform or a gun or whatever, and then just use your mental thoughts, basically your value, and just buy the item for what you're comfortable with. So that's just a lot of people get burned, because they hear some great story or whatever, and after they buy that item and they've paid a ton of money for it, it's just hearsay, really. It's no concrete evidence. And so there's always like a question mark whenever they share that item with another friend or whatever. They cannot say 100% that this item was used by this person or was at this particular battle or whatever. So, but the second one I'll say is if you're on the fence about selling something, if you've got like kind of like a prized possession, and maybe you're not 100% made up in your mind that you do want to sell it, then I would say don't sell it. Because you might obviously get money for it, but once the item's gone and you spent the money, then you have neither. Like I said, especially if it's just a common item, that I guess it'd be different. But if it's something that maybe you've had for a long time, you never thought you would sell, or whatever, then if you're really on the fence, like you're going back and forth in your mind, then I wouldn't sell it. Now, sometimes things happen where maybe you get behind on bills or medical situations happen or whatever, and you have to. You got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of yourself because our health and everything comes before this hobby. We got to take care of ourselves. Got to take care of our family and other responsibilities. But so like I said, it's obviously it's up to you. But if it was me and I was really going back and forth, like, man, I want to sell this, but I don't because I might not ever find another one again. But it's pretty good money, Definitely put some decent thought into it. Like, don't jump the gun and just do something you're going to regret an hour later or next week. All right, the next one, I would say if you're planning on a road trip, one thing I like to do is I go ahead and basically already know the route I'm going to be taking. And so I look up look up antique stores and flea markets that are along the way, and Arms List, Craigslist. Look up Facebook Marketplace and go ahead. You might along your route you're going to be traveling. You might find some really cool stores to visit, some military surplus or like I said antique stores, or you might get on Arms List or Facebook and see somebody along the way that you're going to be traveling is selling something for a really good price, and you could set up arrangements to meet that person. So that's just something I've been doing for a long time, especially with antique stores and stuff like that. I always look and see what's going to be in my path. That way, I can. Sometimes I'll even call, hey, do you have anything old military? Because obviously, I can't stop at 500 stores, but maybe some of the better ones, I can go ahead and call ahead of time and plan on stopping in those and pick up some good stuff and bring it home and share it with you guys. So the next one, I would say, I was just talking about don't be so quick basically to sell something. Well, don't be so quick to buy something because there's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of reproductions. Definitely make sure you've done your homework. Study, research specific items that you've really been looking for, because there's a lot of like I said, fake reproduction stuff out there. Just a lot of stuff that's not properly labeled and might have a ridiculous price on it or whatever. So again, that's where you kind of go and you kind of think it through. Like, don't just rush real quick. Like, take your time, looking the item over. I mean, if you got to pull your phone out and start, hitting up some collector buddies and asking questions, or Facebook groups or whatever, send pictures on Facebook groups. I see that all the time. People will be like, hey, I'm at a gun show, or hey, I'm at an antique store. Here's the item, here's the price, here's pictures. What do you think about it? You know what I mean? So that's definitely a good practice right there. And then kind of going along with that, the next thing is, I said, don't take the seller as being the expert, obviously. Because, a lot of times the seller, they don't know much about the item themselves. They have limited knowledge. And honestly, they might not be correct on their info. Kind of like the first thing I said, buy the item, not the story. There might have been this story passed down 3 or 4 or 5 times, and it's getting twisted and turned and everything else. And like I said, the seller, a lot of people, they might look up on the internet and think they have one item. Oh, okay, this is selling for that. This is exactly what's on the internet. This is what I have, and it's something different. Again, that's why you gotta research and learn this stuff. There's always more to learn. You know what I mean? But just always you prepare yourself. Just don't jump the gun. And I'll actually give you an example. So when I first got into collecting, especially rifles, this was I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. But anyways, most of you guys know I love British Enfields. I've got, I think, 9 of them now. And the very first one I ever got was this. I thought I knew what I was looking for, right? I wanted a World War I era, a number 1 Mark III. And, that's what I was looking for because I liked the way they looked and everything, and I wanted one. And it popped up on Craigslist that there was this guy had one for sale. And, we talked on the phone. We set up a meeting time and everything. I drove close to an hour. I think it was about 45, 50 minutes one way. And met up with the guy and looked the rifle over. I was like, man, that's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. And he's like, yeah, World War I. It was dated... Well, actually, I'll get that in a second. World War I, and I was looking it over, and like I said, again, I had limited knowledge. I was just getting really into Enfields and stuff, and he didn't know exactly what he had. So we made the transaction, $260, and it was maybe like 2 months later, I found out that I didn't buy what I thought I was buying, and he wasn't selling what he thought he was selling. And what I mean by that is, I thought, again, number 1 Mark III. But I started looking at it more, and I was like, hold on, I've got something really good here. And so, come to find out, it was a Mark V, the rare trials rifle they only made about 20,000 of, and it was in original configuration, all matching numbers and everything, and I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, dang, I had no idea what I was buying. I thought I did, but I didn't. And he obviously had no idea what he was selling. He thought he did, but he didn't. And like I said, it was like 2 months later, you know what I mean? And so... there's times where, you could be like, what, maybe I should try to, find that person and give them a little bit more money. But, like I said, it was months, and I had no idea how to get a hold of this guy, to do something like that. But, that's why really it's not the buyer's job to educate the seller, you know what I mean? So the seller needs to make sure they do all their homework and everything before they sell an item. But then again, as the buyer, you got to do that also so you don't overpay for something. And so... unexpectedly, I got really lucky. Not that I was trying to take advantage of the guy, because I didn't know what I was buying. I thought I did, and like I said, he didn't know what he was selling. So it really, kind of sucked for him and worked out for me. It's just one of those weird situations. But another thing I would say is buy stuff worth having. Really, you can do what you want to, right? I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Just some tips. When I first got into collecting about 10 years ago, right at 10 years ago, I wanted everything, all eras, all periods, I wanted everything, anything I could find. But then after a while, I was like, man, some of this stuff's not even worth having. It's just common stuff. They made millions of it or whatever. So I started getting real picky about what I wanted to add. And I got to where I want to be a completist. And what I mean is, like, if I can buy a helmet with a liner, that's awesome. If I can buy a canteen with a cup and cover, or a bayonet with a scabbard, that's awesome, Which there's those times, obviously, you can only buy a helmet by itself, or a canteen or whatever. But I like to start buying complete stuff, stuff worth having, and trying to find more maybe rarer items or uncommon or whatever, instead of just having 500 of stuff that's not even worth much. You know what I mean? Because really, for some of us, this is like a 401k. This is like a retirement for us. You know what I mean? We collect, and when we get older, I mean, we start having to sell things. Maybe due to health situations, or we just get to the point where we've got enough, or we just want to downsize or whatever. Another thing I would say is make friends, learn how to trade, learn how to barter and haggle. Have fun while you're collecting. You know what I mean? Don't let this be a chore. Don't let it frustrate you or stress you out. Like I've mentioned many times, there's times I have to stop. Honestly, the past couple months, I haven't really bought anything. I haven't really been in antique stores or nothing. I'm just kind of burnt out right now. And then, I've been really busy with work and everything. So sometimes you just got to, slow down and enjoy what you already have. Move stuff around, redisplay stuff, label stuff. Enjoy the stuff you have. And then, when you get to a point, you know what, okay, I'm ready to start getting back out there, start picking, start looking for new additions and everything. And I got my money where it needs to be, so that's just a tip there. And the last thing I got for you is a shout out to Philip Merritt. He's one of my really good friends, collector friends. Known him for probably maybe 3 or 4 years now. He lives up north, I'm in the south, and we interact quite a bit on, like Facebook Messenger and even on videos and stuff. And one thing he always mentions in like Facebook groups, like pictures and stuff, and even in YouTube videos, when you got your helmet liner here, he always mentions, it's a good tip, to undo the sweatband from where it attaches to the nape. It's got these clips, and because if not, then over time, the sweatband, if it's really tight, it'll start tearing the nape. And then it makes the liner look like crap, especially if you got a really nice liner, nice webbing, complete, and then the nape starts to rip. So like I said, you can just undo it back here, and nobody's going to see the inside of your liner, but you see I've got mine loose. I've done this on a lot of my liners. There's still some other ones I need to, but that's just a tip there to undo the sweatband from the nape. But anyways, guys, getting to be a long video. I'm going to shut up now. Hope you like these kind of videos. I really enjoy, putting them together and everything. I enjoy interacting with you guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Continue to support me, encourage me. It means a lot. And I'll be getting back to you guys soon. So thank you.